kids. Welcome back to my farmhouse. Today I'm on the roof of my shed because I had to reshingle it. The shingles that were on the roof were bad, and so the shed itself was getting damaged by water. So now I put down some new shingles and it should be in good shape. Well, that's one of the changes that has happened here at my farmhouse since the last time that we were together. There's many other things that have changed too. In fact, all the corn has grown up very tall, as you can see. It's so tall, in fact, that I could never fly a kite in that one field that I did back in the springtime, because now the corn has taken over. And also you'll notice that the place where I planted grass around Easter time has filled in very nicely with grass. It's full of grass now, looks really good. I'm wondering what kind of changes have happened for you at home over the summer and now at the beginning of the school year. I wish I could see what you're doing and what you've been up to, but I trust that it's a lot of good things. Here at the farmhouse, we're going to go back and we're going to study what we had started learning back in the springtime about the prophets, men who listened to God and did what God told them to do and to say what He told them to say. But the other day, while I was sitting in my dining room, my cat came up to me, and my cat was trying to show me that there was something going on in the family room. So I went in the family room, and I saw somebody very special in there. Let's go and look.
Hi, I don't think I've ever met you before.
No, I dare say you haven't. My name is Isaiah. My parents named me after the great prophet of Judah.
Isaiah in the Bible?
Yes, that's the one.
Well, Mr. Isaiah, what exactly is a prophet anyway?
That's a good question. And by the way, what's your name?
Oh, I'm Kevin, but the kids call me Mr. Kevin.
Well, Mr. Kevin, let me tell you about prophets. A prophet is someone who listens to God and then tells other people what God said. Isaiah in the Bible became a prophet in a strange and mysterious way. It happened in the temple, the great house of worship in Jerusalem.
Isaiah was worshiping God in the temple when he had a vision. Isaiah saw God sitting on a throne. God's robe filled the temple. A kind of angels, who are called seraphim, stood above him. They each had 6 wings, and they called out, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. His glory fills the earth." Isaiah was in the presence of God. He said, "I'm ruined. I'm sinful. I do not deserve to be in the presence of the King, the great and holy God." Then one of the seraphim flew to Isaiah. He touched Isaiah's mouth with a burning coal from the altar and said, "Now that this has touched your lips, your wickedness is removed and your sin is wiped away." Then Isaiah heard God's voice. "Who should I send? Who will go for us?" Isaiah said, "Here am I, send me." "Go," God said. Isaiah told the people of Judah about God's plan. God was going to send the people away from Judah, but he would bring some of the people back. These people were part of Abraham's family. God was going to keep his promise to Abraham through them. Isaiah explained that a Messiah was coming, someone who would be Israel's Savior. The Messiah would be a servant who would suffer and be a sacrifice to rescue people from sin. Isaiah said there would be nothing special about God's servant. No one will notice him. People won't even like him, Isaiah said. We will see him and turn away. We will look down on him and won't care about him. But nothing would stop the servant from doing God's plan. He will carry our sicknesses and pains. We have disobeyed God and wandered away like lost sheep, but instead of punishing us, God will punish him. This was God's plan all along. The suffering servant would give up his life as an offering for sin and give life to many, many people. He would take away their guilt, and they would be righteous by his righteousness. And this is how God would prove that what the Messiah does has worked. He wouldn't stay dead. God would bring him back to life. Isaiah said that when God's plan happened, the Messiah would see all the good that would come from his suffering, and he would be glad he suffered. Then God would reward him with great honor.
Isaiah had a lot to say about the coming Messiah, Jesus.
And he lived 700 years before Jesus was born.
Yes, that amazes me, but shouldn't surprise any of us. God can do anything, and he can certainly tell us what he's going to do way in the future.
Well, I'm glad that sending Jesus was always his plan, because it means we can be with him forever.
That's right, Mr. Kevin.
Well, Isaiah, next week you can tell us about one of the other prophets, okay?
Okie dokie. Have a good week, everyone.